Hi, it's Reverend Michael in Detroit again. And it's a very sad day in this country, especially if you happen to be a woman. I'm looking at social media and seeing the cries of anguish and anger and pain from women that I love dearly. Extremely powerful, smart women who are hurting because they got screwed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They got screwed with the decision to put Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court with one agenda and item in mind. And that's to strip the rights of women to have dominion over their own bodies from them. And what's extremely upsetting to me as a Christian minister is that this is being done under the guise of God and Christianity. That the people who are most vehemently doing this claim to be speaking for God and Jesus. They claim that this is a Christian duty to do. And I have to speak up and tell you that honestly you're full of crap. The entire history of the religious right's view on abortion is based on hypocrisy and a lie. If you look at the history of the evangelical movement's view on abortion and pro-choice up until the mid-70s, they actually were pro-choice. And what happened was a bunch of men decided that since African Americans and women were getting too uppity, they needed to find a way to deal with it, especially within the evangelical church. Because up until now, at that point in the 70s, it became no longer, no longer desirable to be overtly racist. So they needed to find something else to rally around. And since women too were talking about empowerment and going to work and embracing their full power, these men decided that they needed to find something that would, quote unquote, distract them and keep them home. So they appealed to women to, fight abortion. But the irony of the situation is wrapping it around a flag of religion and Jesus is based on lies. If you look at the Old Testament, if you look at Scripture, they believed that life began at birth. In fact, historically, in many cultures, they didn't even name children until several days after they were born because they understood that sometimes kids died. And to be quite honest, the Old Testament is full of at least 10 instances where God didn't really care about children. And in fact, in Numbers 5, there's a recipe given by God, theoretically, to perform an abortion. Look up the ordeal of bitter waters. And in fact, at a time in history where abortions were more common than they were today in Roman times, Jesus said absolutely nothing about abortion. So I'm going to say it again. It's crap. It's a lie to really believe that protesting in front of an abortion clinic, firebombing abortion clinics, stripping women of their rights of their own bodies is somehow holy and religious. I'm going to tell you something. Jesus would be more likely to be holding the hand of a woman making one of the most painful choices of their life, deciding to terminate a pregnancy for whatever reason, Jesus would be in the room with them, comforting them, loving her, hugging her, praying and crying with her. Would not be out there with you all protesting in front of clinics, terrorizing these poor women. In fact, if you saw Jesus outside of an abortion clinic, more than likely Jesus would be doing the same thing that Jesus did to the money chasers in the temple, be chasing you all with whips and calling you hypocrites. But beyond the idea of pro-choice being about abortion, it's not. If you actually talk to pro-choice people, men and women, you're going to find out that quite the majority of them are pro-choice, but they're personally against abortion in their own life. Now, me as a man, I honestly feel that I don't have a say in the matter, even if it were my partner. It's her body. It's her decision. I would stand by her. So I don't feel as a man that I have a say, but I'm personally against the idea of an abortion in my life. Just about every pro-choice woman I know feels the same way. And even the ones that, for whatever circumstance, chose to do it, they didn't do it because they thought it was fun. No, they agonized over the decision. They were traumatized, many of them, by choosing that, but they felt they had no other choice. Because the same society that is so vehemently anti this is really anti-women. They're anti-providing sex education access to people. They're against family planning and contraception at the same time. So sometimes a woman, especially a woman who's been raped, has no other choice but to make that decision. So like I said, I know I'm babbling, and I could argue incessantly on the entire history of the religious rights hypocrisy where abortion is concerned, how statistics have proven that so many Christian evangelicals have literally gone from protesting out front to secretly sneaking off and getting abortions, and how many Republican congressmen have forced their own mistresses to have abortions while they've been stripping the rights of women to make that decision themselves. But I'm not going to. You know it. I'm upset about this. I'm upset for the women in my life. If this is on Facebook and you see it, I will provide a link to articles documenting the hypocritical history of the religious rights reasoning to jump on this bandwagon. I will have articles on the statistics about how pro-choice states actually reduce the number of abortions, how access to sex education reduces abortion. And finally, to all you wonderful women in my life, I know it seems like the fight is over and you've lost. I don't think so. I think the fight has just begun. And I want you to know to my dying breath that I will fight for you, and more importantly, with you. I love you all. Bless you.